Welcome everyone to the ninth round of the Goa International 2018. This is IM Sagar Shah and I am coming live from the studio, and today is the penultimate round of this huge tournament over here. So let's begin with the first board action. We have the footage coming in from the first board. It's Idani Poya playing with the white pieces against Levon Babujian. Both of them leading the tournament with 7 out of 8, and right now you can see Babujian really thinking hard for his moves. He is in big trouble, it seems. So let's just have a look at what the position is on the board. Right now the position that we have is White's last move was Queen to F7. Wow. So Idani Poya just picked up the Queen on F7, and this is what we have. I think White is completely crushing in this position. Queen G8 check is a big threat, bringing the king out. Also, Black really doesn't have any counterplay as such. For example, if he tries to do something like Queen C2 in such position, then I have a feeling that Queen F5 is just finishing off the game. I mean, the Black king is just very weak, and there is no real way to take care of him. So Idani Poya looks all set to win this game over here. In fact, before the tournament began, I went up to him and said, whenever an Iranian player comes to India alone, he tends to win the tournaments. And this is exactly what is happening. In Jan, it was Parham Maksudlu who came to Mumbai and simply crushed the field. If you remember, he's the current world junior champion. And by the way, we have some guests who have joined us on the show. We have Slavaje Studios, Samdan Dandar, Harshit Vij, Pranshu Kumar, and Anup Kapil Krishnan. Well, guys, welcome to the show. I would like to tell you, all of you, that what we are doing right now is very unique in Indian chess. The board, along with the video of the players, which you can just see over here, like the player completely in action, completely engrossed. This is something which you cannot really see in live streaming. This has been done over here by the organizers of the Goa Chess International, and so I think the live streaming of Indian events is going to improve drastically in the days to come. Also, this is the first time that Chessbase India is commentating in this fashion. Usually we would have a chessboard and you could see me in this style over here, and I would be commentating and I would be talking about the moves. But over here we have the studio and the ability to cut through to the live with seeing the expression of the players. And this is Levon Babujian, who's concentrating really hard, hoping that he can escape in this position, but I am not sure whether he would be able to do so. So I guess we should move on to board number 2, and board number 2 is where Navarro Valerie is taking on Karthik Venkatraman. I think this is another crucial game, but here we have some very good news that the game has already ended. As we can see from the board over here, the Black king is standing tall right in the center of the board. That means Karthik Venkatraman has scored a win over Navarro. Just very quickly, let's go over the game to see what happened, because this is something which is of great interest to Indians. Karthik Venkatraman was not really in great form in this tournament, but he has showed some phenomenal chess in the last couple of rounds. And we had the London system as always in many of the rounds we have seen here. And here bishop g3, short castles, and bishop d3. This time Neverov went for this. If I'm not mistaken, then in one of the previous rounds, bishop b5 was played against Karthik by Pranav, and it was not bishop g3. In fact, the right move order was bishop into d6, queen into d6, and bishop b5. This is what Pranav had played and scored a win against Karthik, but I'm sure that Karthik had prepared something over here. So in the game, bd3 was played, and then came b6, castles, bishop d7, rook e8, knight to e5, queen c7, knight into c6, bishop into c6, bd6, queen d6, and here the position is around equal. I would say that black would have absolutely no worries here. He's threatening e5, he has everything going his way, but I think f4 was played, and it was an ambitious try, and now Karthik started playing on the queen side with b5, b4. e4 is very logical. You take rook a e1. I'm wondering if he could not take this knight, perhaps. What's wrong with this? Well, it was also possible to take this knight, I think, but Neverov just wanted to perhaps bring his rook into the game, rook a e1. And then after rook a b8, he took on e4, and Karthik just pushed on. This is a very nice exchange, by the way. He didn't take with his knight, but he took with his bishop. And after bishop takes, the knight on f6 is extremely well placed, and you start playing on the queen side. He sacrificed a pawn on c4 to bring his other rook into the game with so much play. Queen a3, now the c3 pawn is hanging, a2 was taken, and you can see how black infiltrated into the position. I think this was a great game by Karthik. Queen to a5, attacking the rook on a1, after rook b1 takes, rook d8, c6. Well, it could have been possible to play something else here, maybe much better, but I think g6, rook c3, knight to d5, rook c1, and here is where black played a very powerful move, and this is what I want you guys to find. What should black play here? I would like to welcome a few other people on the ChessBase India channel. This is Pranshu Kumar, Madhurama Verma, who says, how is Himanshu Sharma playing in this round? Well, if his game is live, we will definitely go to it. Madhuraman Verma is also here. Okay, so any suggestions? Black move in this position. What do you think should black play? This is what Karthik Venkatraman played, and after this, in a way, the game was over. Okay, so here in this position, Karthik went for the move Queen d2. As Palik Swami asks, yes, Anup got it right, Queen d2, well done. And the time control in this tournament is 1.5 hours plus 30-second increment. Now f4 pawn is hanging, and after queen f1, you had knight e3, and there is no way to protect both c1 and g2, and so he resigned the game, Neverov. So that was a great win for Karthik. And now, moving on, I think we should look at what happened on board 3. It was Sivuk Vitali, who was still playing against Sayantan Das. Let's have a look at what's going on. Sayantan on your screen, on your right, thinking for his move, very much engrossed in thoughts here. This is going to be an important Indian game because Sayantan has been playing really well in this tournament. He is on 6.5 points, and if he can win this game, that would take him right to the top. You can see the live streaming from the event. You can see what's going on. This is really very interesting for people. Oops, some disturbance. Let's have a look at what's going on in the game of Sayantan Das and Vitali Sivuk. Okay, so this is what we have on the board right now. Black has a pawn on. Black has a beautiful knight on d4, and Sivuk's last move was g6. But I have a feeling that somehow the d5 square is very weak. Both the knights are ideally placed, so you could play knight to d5 here. By the way, it seems like some moves have been played in this position. As you say, on third board, I feel Sayantan Das is clearly better in this position. He has a lot of things going his way. And the last few moves have been played. Sayantan played knight e2, very nice move to remove the knight from d4, and Sivuk took on e2, and now Sayantan is thinking whether to take on e2 with his queen or rook. So that's a nice question for you guys. What do you think? Should white take on e2 with the rook or with the queen? Because I think you could even take with the queen, but then the e4 pawn is a little bit problematic. But he took with the rook over here. That's the logical move, and now you have complete control over the d5 square. You have this knight which is going to jump in over here, and then after the knight exchange, bishop is going to sit like a king on d5. I have a feeling that Sayantan Das is going to score a win today. He beat Farukh Amanotov yesterday, so that's fantastic performance by the young boy. So we have Palik Swami, Vinay Yennegure, Sanjay Ghosh, everyone who's suggesting moves here. Rook into e2 for fantastic guys. This is great. And yeah, this looks like a great endgame for the Indian player. And I would like to show you a quick view of the the C group that's going on over here. It looks so many people over here. In fact, if I am not mistaken, this is the A group. Yeah, this is A group, but you can see the overview of all the boards over here. This is the atmosphere in the playing hall, and I think you guys definitely like it. Yeah, the Goa tournament, really well organized by the people over here. Individual tables for almost all the players. As you can see, so much space to sit and walk around. It's a beautiful stadium. I am in love with this place, and this is a fantastic job. Okay, maybe while we are looking at the game between Sayantan Das and Sivuk, we could get some footage from the fourth board, which is between Deepan Chakravarti and Rahul VS. But I would like to invite all the viewers to tell me, what should black do now? If you were in Sivuk Vitali's shoes right now, what would you play? On board 4, we have this exciting battle that's going on between Deepan Chakravarti and Rahul VS. So that's where we would like the camera to go next on board 4. Right now, this is the position. So Animesh Tiwari asks, is Ankit Gajwa's game going on? Ankit Gajwa is playing against Nilotpal Das today, and I have a feeling that game is still in progress, so we will come to that game for sure. But let's have a look. Rook to d8 is what is suggested by Madhurya Bhattacharya. Before that, Venkat Ratnam says knight d7. Well, knight d7 or rook d8 looks okay. Both the moves seem pretty fine to me. But Sivuk has put his queen to b4. Now this move is a little bit tricky, because as you can see, he's attacked 2 pawns. One on e4 and the other one on b2. But if you are white now, this is how I like to, challenge myself, to test myself all the time. What should you do in this position as white now? Do you defend the b2 pawn or do you defend the e4 pawn? What should you do? Yes, Rishi Malhotra had suggested queen to b4. That's very good, Rishi. Great job done by you. And I have a feeling that while you guys are thinking for the move, we will slowly move to board number 4, because that's where an exciting game lies ahead between Deepan Chakravarti and Rahul VS. Both the guys from Chennai, 2 Indians fighting it out. So one of them should move ahead. So here I have a feeling that c3 has been suggested by many people. Also knight to c4, c3, knight to d5. But you have to be careful. For example, knight d5, if I were to take your knight and then after bishop d5 I take on b2, you are already losing a pawn. I don't see how you're going to recover. This is not something I want to do. So here after queen b4, I think that you should think about the move c3, and then after queen e4, queen takes e4, knight takes e4, perhaps knight d5, and then pick up the pawn on b6. So for example, let's say knight goes back to f6. I could think of doing something else, but knight b6 looks too tempting, and maybe rook to b8, a5. I have a feeling that this is pretty okay for black, because he has the move bishop d8 here. So perhaps this is not the right way to continue. Yeah, knight c4 looks possible. We have a few general questions by Niranjan Shetty, who says how to study chess books. Well, we'll come to that question soon, but right now let's focus on how to study this position that we have in front of us. It looks very, very interesting, because Sayantan Das has an important decision to make. Meanwhile, as Sayantan thinks for his move, let's cut our view to Rahul VS right now in front of you. Board number 4, Deepan Chakravarti is thinking for his move. Deepan has this style of, touching a piece and then, playing it. It seems like as if he's some kind of a novice to the game of chess, doesn't like to leave his piece immediately, sometimes holds it for a long time. And this is the position we have right now in front of us. After knight c6, it's Rahul's move. I think he's made his move. I have a feeling that Rahul's last move was rook back. There are some moves which look a little different. Perhaps the board is not yet updated. So we'll wait for it. Yeah, now we have the moves here. So he's taken bishop into e5. Okay, So let us get to the game. The last move over here was knight to c6, king g4, a4, knight c6, rook d6, knight e5, and he's taken on e5. The question is, would you take with the pawn or you take with the rook? Venkat Ratnam says it's a draw. Interesting. I sort of felt that perhaps white should be better because he has the double pawns, the connected pawns, not the double, the two pawns. But Deepan took on e5. This is instructive, by the way, guys. Once Deepan took on e5, the rook went behind the pawn, and after that, rook to e2. By the way, you have to be careful here, because if you took with the pawn, then I have a feeling that this position after rook a6 is clearly defendable for black, because the two separated pawns will not pose too much danger. But at the same time, now after rook a6, rook e2, a3, a draw was agreed, I think. Look, you can see both the players analyzing there. That seems like a draw because rook has to get passive on a2, and the king with two pawns cannot really hold everything here. So draw has been agreed in board number 4. I think we should check the action taking place on board number 5 now. But meanwhile, we should definitely analyze this game which is going on between Deepan and Rahul. You see, in this position, you would definitely want to start pushing the pawns, but I don't think it's really possible to start pushing the pawns. Oops. Yeah. So the rook can defend. For example, if you were to start pushing with, say, king g5, it's black to play, so he can first start with rook a5, f5, king f6. I don't really see how you can make progress here without your rook. So that's drawish. But let's turn our attention to board number 5 between Sergei Kasparov and Vitaly Bernatsky. You can see Kasparov sitting there. He has the same name as the great world champion Garry Kasparov, but of course he's a different player. He feels really hot in India, and so he always is wearing this sleeveless shirt and has his finger in his ears. He's trying to concentrate very hard. He's playing against a young Ukrainian talent, Vitaly Bernatsky. By the way, I want to once again just make my point here that this is really the first time that we have been able to get this footage. It's a big moment for Indian chess because there is a tournament happening in India which you can follow from your home, see what's going on the board, at the same time also follow the analysis which is taking place. So we are moving towards high level of commentary in Indian chess. I'm trying to locate what's going on in the game between Kasparov and Bernatsky. So let's just have a look at the board position we have in front of us. It looks like white is under a lot of pressure here because he is low on space. The knight could at some point jump on d3 and attack the pawn on b2. This looks very, very dangerous, but the h3 pawn is slightly weak, so black has to be careful. But when he, say, takes on h3 twice, then knight d3 comes in, so it's very concrete and a lot of calculations have to be done here. Yes, this is a very, very interesting position. Bernatsky is thinking for his move. You can see him, he's trying to grab a piece, but not sure what exactly he is going to play here. Bishop f1 looks like a possibility for sure to attack the pawn on h3. But you have to be careful. I mean, optically it seems that black is better, but specifically it seems that white is doing pretty okay. Also the h3 pawn weakness comes into the picture. I'm thinking, if let's say I just move my king around somewhere here on g6, you still can't take the pawn, because after bishop h3, knight h3, you have knight d3, which makes it difficult. By the way, you can see Kasparov holding some kind of a thing in his hand, just trying to see what it is. Some kind of a chain in his hand. Yeah, there you have it. He is holding some chain, maybe something related to God, and maybe he needs something, some kind of help, divine help it seems. Bernatsky is very calm, focusing on the board. Well, in these tournaments you can't wear watches, you can't wear... Kasparov is white, sorry. So he goes to the board. King g6 was played in the game. So let's go over here after g5. Bishop to f1. King g6 was played. And we have this game. So, this is the position which we have on the screen. I think we should move to board number 1. I think is already over. Perhaps if we have some footage from board 3, Sayantan Das and Sivuk Vitali, then maybe we can go to board 3. If board 1 is still in progress, maybe to board 1. But I guess the game would have ended by now. Levon Babujian was already in big trouble. So let's just see the footage that can be offered from here. Meanwhile, let's have a look at this position, that is having knight on f2, bishop f1. The pawn on h3 is hanging. So the knight is very well placed. Okay, so I'm not really sure what the last moves have been here, but let's look at some other games now. Any suggestions that you have in this game right now? Oops, let me just... Do you have any suggestions that we can look into some games? Maybe you have some of your friends playing in this tournament, so we can look at some of the games that would be suggested. But I think on board 1 the game is still going on, so perhaps it's a good idea to shift our attention to board 1 between Idani Poya and Babujian. So this game is still going on, and Black King has been, taken out from the hiding over here, as you can see. And the last move was a simple move, king to g2. So very quiet move by white. And there are no real threats at the moment, but I'm sure that white can slowly build pressure. The b3 pawn is also hanging. So you can now see the scene from board number 1 that's going on. Idani Poya thinking for his move. It seems as if he is looking for a kill. But Levon Babujian is to move. His face is all red. When your king is out in the open, you are definitely going to have a lot of things to worry about. Venkat Ratnam says that black should push his pawn to b2. Yeah, might as well do it, because if you are not going to push your pawn, it might well fall. So for example, over here, if you push your pawn to b2, you might want to do this. But what should white do now? I think white has basically brought the king out in the open, and he needs to now checkmate him. So h4, h5 is definitely something on the cards to look at. Apart from that, what else can black do? Rook to d1 is a suggestion by Chetan Mutkegar. Chetan, this is an excellent idea. Fantastic. Rook to d1. And I think that was the reason why. But what if I just take your rook? What is happening? Is there a forced checkmate? Is the game over after this? Okay, yeah. Obviously, we are just analyzing something really stupid. Queen takes a2 is just losing a rook. So let's not go there. Let's move back. Let's put the pawn back on b3. Of course, Vishal, thanks for suggesting, and also Vinay Yenegure, rook on a2 is hanging, so we can't really play that pawn to b2. But what should black do now? Because if I'm not mistaken, rook into b3 is a threat. Because if you go back one move, if here after queen d7 you took the rook on b3, then queen d1 check comes and you lose the rook. So that is why king to g2 was played. And now after b2 you are losing a rook, so you can't push, and then b3 is hanging. So I don't really see how you're going to defend this b3 pawn, because you also have to make sure that f7 is guarded. So many things have to be taken care of. So let's assume I put my rook to a3. Well, at least I'm trying something. I don't know if it will work. What do you think? Yeah, black is definitely losing this game, but it's all about giving resistance. If you resist well, then maybe you never know, you might be able to trick your opponent. So here, something like rook d1 should be considered. I'm not sure if it works or not. For example, I take here, and then after queen to e8, that might be interesting. Queen to e8. So what we were looking at was rook a3, rook d1, takes, check, queen e8. Now you have to go king h7, and now rook f8, and the queen controls the g6 square, and rook h8 is a mate. There are no checks coming in this position. So that's a nice variation that we just looked at. So Levon is thinking for his move here after king g2. As Budika Amarasinghe confirms, this looks completely winning for white. Yeah, rook a3 is suggested by few people, but rook d1 is interesting. Rook d1, perhaps queen e6. For example, rook a3, rook d1, queen e6. But yeah, this is definitely a lot of stress for Levon Babujian, who's thinking for his moves. He has around 9 minutes left on his clock. I would be very interested to have a look at the 8th board over here, which is, or maybe the 6th board between Ter Sahakyan Samuel and Anup Deshmukh. 6th board, if we can get to that, which is between Anup Deshmukh and Ter Sahakyan Samuel. If that game has been completed, let me just have a look, because Anup Deshmukh is known for, quickly finishing his games. And if board number 6 is not, it's going on. I think they've just completed their game. Let me just cut to there. The game has just ended. What is the result? It might be a big surprise for me if Anup Deshmukh has won this game, because he is an aggressive player. You never know what he can do, but for sure Ter Sahakyan Samuel is a very dangerous opponent. And so I have a feeling that Anup Deshmukh might not have had the best of results, but well, Let's just check the game. It seems otherwise to me. Anup Deshmukh looks very calm and composed on the screen, as you can see. And yeah, if we can find someone, if Anup Deshmukh has won the game, if he can come into the commentary room, that would be interesting. But the arbiter comes and asks the players, please do it quietly. And if Tersakian Samuel has lost the game or not, this was the position that I can see right now over here on the board, and this looks completely crushing for black. Something has gone wrong. Maybe they moved the pieces or something. For example, this is the moves that have come into the live game. Rook takes a1, and some wrong moves have occurred, so I am not sure what the result is. Maybe Amruta can go there and find out what has happened in the game. And from the looks of the face of Anup Deshmukh, it looks like that he won the game, and Samuel won. That's what Budika Amarasinghe says. Okay, so perhaps Samuel has won his game. Samuel won the game. Okay. So maybe Samuel, well, we can just continue with the game analysis of the other games. I would be very happy if we could get the board to board number 7, which is actually being played on, not over there, it's being played on the boards behind. It would be very difficult to get. No, it's basically the young boy who is on the wheelchair over there. 12. Okay, so maybe any other board. Let's just see if we can get Nilotpal Das or some other game in the screen. But the result is Tersakian Samuel won, and here we have some footage from two strong international GMs. That's Adam Tukhayev on your right, and Malakhatko playing against two youngsters, Rathanvel and Jimmy Zubin. Interesting game. So we have Rathanvel, who's a very strong player, and he's taking on Adam Tukhayev. Adam with the white pieces. Let's just check what's happening in that game. Tukhayev is having not such a great event here. I always feel like he should be, the one who could win these tournaments, because he's really, really strong. As you can see here, queen moves to f4, and yeah, this is a winning attack that Tukhayev has launched. He has the queen, rook and the knight in the play, and it looks like Rathanvel is just making his final moves. Okay, let's have a look at okay, here we have some great scenes from board number 7. By the way, this is G Akash versus Aditya Mittal, and I must say that Aditya Mittal is a big fighter. He fell down in the under 13 nationals a few months ago, and he has been tethered to a wheelchair ever since. But look at him, he's fighting here. Unfortunately, he just resigned against G Akash, but immediately after the game is done, you see he's trying to analyze with his opponent, and this is what is so amazing. Satyam Nayak Deepan Chakrabarti drew his game, so that's something that we cannot right now continue. But G Akash has won his game. They both are analyzing against each other. Let's just see. I think in this game, Akash was able to get his 2 pawns to h2 and g2, but there's no live board over there. They are playing on the normal board because Aditya plays on a separate board for more space that is required. Okay, let's shift our attention to back to Jimmy Zubin. If we can get it to board number 14, a little zoom in to Jimmy Zubin, who's playing against Malakhatko. I think that game is very, very interesting because I have great faith in the talent of Zubin Jimmy, that young boy from Kerala, just I think 11 or around 12 or 13 years old, and he is fighting very hard against a strong grandmaster, Vadim Malakhatko. So let's see if we can get the footage from that game. Board number 14. Yeah, there we have some footage there. As you can see, last move has been, a few of the moves have been made. I think white Malakhatko is clearly on the offensive. Rook g1, Zubin must have taken king takes g1, and after something like queen g6, queen g2, this seems like a winning endgame. You are a pawn up and with a completely dominating position. So yeah, Zubin seems to not have his luck today. He seems to be losing. What about the top board? I think we should, if we have the opportunity, we should go back to the game between Idani Poya on board 1 against his opponent over there, Babujian Levon. Meanwhile, I would like to point out that the two youngsters are still analyzing their game, and this is what is my advice to everyone. Please analyze your games once they are over with your opponent. Do not leave in anger. That doesn't help much. But if you analyze and you're able to learn a few things, then that's going to actually help you to become a stronger player. No matter how bad the game was or whether you lost badly, it doesn't really matter. You must analyze. And now let's get to board number 1. Here we have live footage. This is the most important game because board number 2, Navarro, who was also a joint leader, has lost his game. So that means the one who wins here will move into sole lead. So it's going to be interesting to see. We have the board position on the screen here. It is king has moved to h7. So we were looking at this game a few minutes ago, and we were looking at the position with here. Rook a3 was played and h3 was played by Idani. Maybe he wanted to play rook g4. Then h5 continued. Rook to f3. Perhaps not the best move. Rook to f8 could have been a better move to consider here after h5. You know, just bring your rook to f8, or maybe rook to f5 could have been another consideration here with a clearly aggressive position. h4 rook g5 is a threat, but it was rook f3 played in the game, and then after rook f3 black played queen e6. Of course white doesn't want to exchange the queen, so he went queen d8, and after queen d8 rook d6, queen f8, king h7, rook e1, and I have a feeling that black has somehow fought back in this game. You can see Idani now trying to think very hard, trying to see if he can get that winning position. I think he became a little complacent at some point, and he just missed his chances for sure. This is not really great play by Idani, and here you can see Levon touching his rook. He brings it back to a6, presses his clock, and rook to a6. Levon knows that he can defend this position now, and for Idani it means fighting back again. It doesn't seem very clear. Of course he's better, he's a pawn up, his king is much more secure, but the b3 pawn is not to be underestimated. If you can get the pawn rook b6 and pawn to b2, anything can happen. Here you see, maybe if we can see some other game on from boards number 5 to 10, if there is some game that's going on, we can have a look at that as well. But right now the first board is in focus, and the second camera can be used to look at some other games that are going on. Here's another angle of the same game. Put the players focus, lot of players around them, because they know this is the key game, this is the key matchup. And now it's Idani's turn. You can look at him focusing hard. What should he do? The rook has moved to a6, and he plays his rook to f5, better late than never. He plays his rook to f5, and immediately queen to g6 by Babujian. Idani blundered queen h4. That's what Budika Amar Singh says. Which point queen h4? Can we just have a look? Perhaps we can maybe understand better what you mean to say. At which point was queen h4 coming? Let me just have a look. Do you mean somewhere around here, that he could play rook queen to h4? Okay, possible. And then maybe rook f5 and queen g5. Yeah, that or queen h5. Yeah. But okay, in the game, queen f8 was played, king h7, rook e1, rook a6, rook f5, and now the question is, what should, queen g6 was played, what should Idani do? And we have a few more moves on the board that have been made. So much at stake when you're playing the penultimate round on the top board. There's so many things happening. Rook to b1 was brought back, and rook b6. These two moves have been played. So this is the position which you have on screen over here. Rook to b1, and now Idani is shifting his focus. He plays his queen to c8. Something doesn't feel right about this plan. You're moving your queen to c8 in this position when the black king is weak. Doesn't seem great, but well, what can you do? If you win the b3 pawn, you can still win the game quite easily. There's another game that's going on, a very important game, that is between Sergei Kasparov with the white pieces against Vitaly Bernatsky. Bernatsky's loss yesterday was quite a big blow to his chances. He lost to Neverov, who is a veteran 54-year-old GM, and now once again he is perhaps facing a pretty hard time against Sergei Kasparov. Kasparov is perhaps a pawn up. Let's have a look at that game if we can get the board of that game. Yeah, this is the position we have on screen, which is knight c4, and Kasparov is white, Sergei Kasparov, and knight takes g3 was played, and knight to d6. So as Botvinnik had said, knight endgames are like pawn endgames. So basically white should be winning here if he just plays it carefully with c4, c5, and you can see Kasparov very confident. He moves up from his board, and he knows that he has got the point in the bag. Shubham is here. He says, may I bless? Okay, I don't understand. And Shrey Gajmal says, hi, welcome Shrey. And Shubham, how can I assist you? Well, Shubham, for starters, if you are in Goa, you can come and meet me. That's how you can at least we can start something. But for example, right now we have this position, this game between Bernardsky, who's playing, and look at him, he's saying, what should I do? I can't move my king back to f7, the knight is stuck over there. I don't understand. How do I prevent c4, c5, c6? The pawn just rolls through. This is his main problem here, and there is absolutely no way in which he will be able to save this position. It seems like Kasparov is going to win. Yes, and if Kasparov wins this game, he moves to 7.5. There's a move that's made, knight to f1 check. Over here, Kasparov comes back to the board. I would like you guys to have a look at Sergei Kasparov. Of course, not as famous as Garry Kasparov, but still a very solid player. He loves to play the Benko Gambit with black, and he has written a book which is called Dismantling the Sicilian with f3 variation. So yeah, white is winning here for sure. And we have many viewers here today. Tan M, Vishal Dharia, Luto Puto Classic, Shrey Gajmal, and the greatest of all time. So a lot of people here, and that's what is great about this broadcast, that you are all sitting at home and enjoying this live broadcast between some of the top GMs that have gathered in the Goa tournament. After knight f1, I think king e2 was played, and then knight to g3. This was the check that was given. Here king e2 was played, knight g3, and now Kasparov is thinking for his move. I think he will play king f3 and then slowly start pushing his pawns. Okay, what else do we have here? I think we should shift our attention back to the top board, which is a lot of things have happened. Oh my god, lot of pawns have been exchanged. We missed out some really interesting stuff here. But let's have a quick look at what happened, because Idani was completely better, but now not anymore. I think we left the game somewhere here, and then after queen g6 was played, there was rook b1, rook b6, queen c8, rook f6, and after queen c4, rook f5. Oh my god, this is not at all an easy endgame to win. After queen takes b3, you have 3 versus 2, and what a complete mess up by the Iranian player. He was winning his game, he was totally better, but now this endgame, I have absolutely no faith that white can win. Not because of anything related to the player, but just look at the body language. You can see the difference. Look at Babu Jian on the left, so confident, so happy. He has just escaped death. While Idani on the right, he looks so depressed. He knew that he was going to checkmate the Black King, and now suddenly this technical endgame where he has to make so many moves. But also, this position I think theoretically should be a draw. You cannot really win this, because if you exchange 2 versus 3, you exchange 2 pawns, what remains will be blocked by the opponent's king. Well, this is really sad news. By the way, greatest of all time says we want live commentary of Isle of Man starting tomorrow. Well, I'm sure I can give you some live commentary on that, but of course we can't really put cameras over there. That would be asking too much, but still, Isle of Man, a great event beginning tomorrow, and the top seed is Anish Giri, Levon Aronian, Vishy Anand, everyone playing there. Indians, I think Vidit Gujarati would also be playing there. So that's going to be an amazing game to look forward to. Let's have a look at what Bernatsky is doing. He is struggling. Sergei Kasparov is moving around. You know, I have often wondered when... By the way, we seem to have a result in the game already, or maybe they are just changing their score sheets. Not really sure. They are just changed their score sheets on top board. But coming to the game between Kasparov and Bernatsky, I have a very important question for you guys. Suppose you are winning your game like Kasparov. Do you sit in your chair and focus very hard, or you tend to play like Kasparov, you make a move and you start moving around? That's an important question, and I would like to know what is your approach. By the way, Kirtan Prabhu says, when are you going to play your next tournament? That question is aimed at me. Well, if I do play the tournament, then who will give the live commentary is my question. Well, okay, I really would like to play very soon. We have planned 2019 some tournaments that I would like to play. I hope I can manage that. But so we could go to another board over here, which is board number... Yeah, let's have a look at some other board. But for example, my question to you guys was, like Kasparov says Rishi Malhotra, also Kirtan Prabhu says, Venkat Ratnam says like Kasparov. So yeah, I think many of you like to move around, but I think it could be a good idea to just sit on the board. By the way, the game has ended. Bernatsky has resigned the game. Kasparov has won. Of course, it was completely winning. So there you can move around. But still, I think if you sit on your chair and then just try to calculate stuff while you are winning your game, that would be much better. And Kirtan Prabhu asked me, which is the next tournament for commentating, not for playing. Okay. I have to think about it. Maybe Isle of Man for sure. I am sure we'll have some action from there. I'll try to get Amruta to start commentating. Maybe if Amruta can join us here. She's here and she was in the hall. So let's get her here and ask her, Amruta, what do you think was happening in the tournament hall? She is joining us here, and yeah, she is in the screen. And yeah, Amruta, how was it in the playing hall?
Oh, it was very serious, and I went to I was recording the first board, Levon Babujian versus Idani Puya, and now it's simplified. I think it will end in a draw.
Yes, it was completely mess up by the Iranian player. I think he was completely winning, yes?
I went towards the end, so I'm not really sure about it. But
yeah, as you can see on the board here, you can see Babujian extremely confident and making his moves, while Idani Poya is just so. And by the way, look at that young boy next to Idani. This is what GM tournaments have done in India. These great players come from all over the world, and our youngsters get to see them in action.
Yes, I think it's a very good thing here. Not just this, but B group is also together, and to watch these players is, it's really inspiring because you can see them live, their psychology, their stress, and some players are so calm, and it helps when you look at them that they are playing so calmly that you also want to do the same.
Yeah, exactly. And there are some questions which are raised when they say that why should lower rated players be allowed to play in A category, or if it is above 2000, why should 1800 or 1700 or 1600 be allowed to play? What's your take on that?
Well, I think it's completely the decision of the organizers because as a lower rated, they would of course love to play with the strong players, but the strong players, they should also get to play only in the, against strong players, I would say. So there has to be a balance of tournaments. I think in India now, as I heard that the next IIFL tournament which is coming up is strictly about 2100, and if that's true, then I would say yes, India needs such tournaments as well. Yes.
For sure. And what do you have to say about this commentary that we are doing today? We have been doing for a long time a commentary which is like this. You can see the board, you can see both of us, and you can see, let's say, some sponsors' logos or Chessbase India logo. But this time, what we have done is that you can suddenly cut to what's going on in the playing hall.
Wow, I think it's the first time in India such a thing is happening, and it's so interesting, so exciting, and so good that Goa Chess Association could make this possible. It's the first step, and I'm sure this is going to happen at many more events.
Yeah, for sure. This is just the beginning, and I would like to thank Kishore Bandekar, Goa Chess Association, all the people who are working here, and also Ishwari Digital, because Mr. Prabhakar, who is sitting here, has been working quite hard to get all of this into place, and of course with the backing of the organization, they have all done a fantastic job that people back home can sit at home and watch Levan Babujian defending this pawn down endgame against Idani Poya.
Yes, I would be surprised if he loses.
Yeah, this is not going to be very difficult. Any other games which you found were interesting today? Perhaps we can have a look at that. I think there was no real big upset that was done today. Ankit Gajwa, after fantastic outing, has suddenly slumped, and he lost 2 rounds, this time to Nilotpal Das. So I think maybe he will make an IM norm, but GM norm definitely looks out of reach. We have to check whether he's already made an IM norm, because he's 6 out of 9, and perhaps he might have done it. But he drew his first 2 rounds against 1800 opponents, so perhaps we don't know. What is the situation?
Yeah, I think tomorrow everything will be clear, and right now I'm also following with you. I was at the Chessbase stall. We have so many books, and after your yesterday's video, a lot of people came to ask about the books.
They saw the video.
Yes.
I would like to tell the viewers here, first of all, please do a couple of things. Watch the video on the quality chess books that I have made, so that you have an idea of which books we have in the Chessbase India office and at the stall. And secondly, please do subscribe to the Chessbase India channel.
Absolutely.
Because I think we are going to do more of such live shows,
yes,
more such interactive stuff with you guys. I know that today I couldn't commentate as well. I couldn't take many questions because
you were alone.
Yeah, the system is different. There are a lot of things to manage. I have to click somewhere, and it's not so easy. But I think it will change, and we will be able to take more questions. And if you guys haven't subscribed to our channel yet, then
Yes, please do subscribe. We have a lot of other plans as well in future of training, openings and end game concepts. So yes, be alert.
yeah, everyone is asking when is your fourth edition.
Oh my god, I can't, I don't want to boast about it, but I want to tell a story.
Fourth edition of Sicilian Khan. Amruta has done 3 episodes. When is your 4th episode going to come? Live session.
You can't do this to me.
While you give your answer, we have just shown you the live board between Idani Poya and Levon Babujian. I think Babujian is getting bored. Yeah, just moving the queen from here and there. So when's the next show, and what was the story that you are going to tell us?
No, the story was there was a 7-year-old at the stall, chess stall, a girl, and she has been coming first and second in district tournaments. And she played one rapid, and after 2 days, she told her father that I played e4 c5, and he was shocked. Oh, but your coach has taught you e4 e5, and she said yes, but I saw those videos and I played Khan and I won. And I was like, oh my god, really, that's a huge responsibility. And I
kind of made the video thinking that maybe few people will watch it, but I think a lot of people, even in Africa, when we went to the Olympiad, a lot of people saw that and have started playing Khan. So now the next question, when is your 4th episode? And yes, a lot of people are looking forward to it.
Really, I don't know the date, absolutely not. But I promise that when the 4th session will come out, the 5th and 6th will also come out very soon.
Okay. And by the way, we have a comment by Neo Trinity who says, love you both, keep going, more power to both of you. Amruta is too cute, a chess girl. It's okay, I am not flirting because she is a girl, she says.
Okay, that's very nice of you, thank you.
Yeah, and Venkatratnam, I have not made any opening repertoire videos until now, but I hope to do some very soon. And also, we will be doing a few videos on different openings and end games. I think is very important.
Yes, especially after this tournament when we saw this Troitsky line.
Yeah, Troitsky's line, if you guys haven't seen that already, it's basically 2 knights trying to mate the opponent's king, which has 1 pawn, so it doesn't end in stalemate. By the way, Amruta, a quick cut to the B playing hall. If you look here, this is how it looks. Sorry, C group. This is the 8th round of the C group going on. These guys have done such a fantastic job in organizing the event by giving all of these players so much space to play on. You can see each game, each table has only 2 games going on.
Yeah, it's not very often you get to see that, especially in Group C, because it's as I've seen in other open tournaments, it's a long table with lot of boards, and you cannot move around, and you cannot. As a photographer, for me to take pictures, it's very difficult. So yes, it's definitely hats off to the organizers, I will say.
Yes, and as we were told, there is a lot of space for people to sit, and secondly, there was also very few walkovers, which is very rare in the B and C category, because in the first rounds, when you have around over 500 entries, there are bound to be walkovers, but they managed it well. The people whose opponents didn't turn up, they paired them against each other so that no one lost a single game, the opportunity to play a single game, and everyone could play. So this is a huge thing for Goa chess. It's for the first time they are holding an international event, and the response has been phenomenal.
Yes, absolutely. But by the way, I want to ask you one question, Sagar. As we see right now, Idani and Babujian, and such games which are very, very drawish, you can say, nothing much. But we have seen a lot of players stretching it, and many a times actually converting it into something. Is it a good idea according to you? Because you have to put a lot of energy into it, and most of the time it ends into nothing. So during the last rounds, what is your opinion about it?
I think that Idani should definitely try here because he's a pawn up. But if it was, I mean, I would have played on because I was winning and I still have hopes that I can win. But if it was a very pragmatic and practical player, then he would have taken a draw, saying that tomorrow is a very crucial game and every ounce of energy that I can save right now will be useful tomorrow. Now, what sort of an approach I take, I'm not sure. Like, for example, if you look at this position right now that is on the screen, it looks very difficult to win it. I mean, I can push the pawn to g4, but then you will just exchange it. After I push the pawn to g4, you can take, and then I can take back, and then one pair is already exchanged. Then you play h5, and the king is on g8, already blockading the square. So maybe Idani could be very smart and take a draw. Like, I always remember this game between Anand and Andrekin from 2014 candidates, when Anand was completely winning and he took a draw. And then people said, come on, you can't take a draw. What is this? It was plus minus 2 point something. You could have won the tournament. Already gained much more lead than what you were in. But Anand was very much sure that, okay, I didn't see the win. I took a draw and I saved my energy. I want to play the next game. And of course, he won the tournament. So it's very difficult. More and more that we are exploring the world, more and more that we are meeting people, we are coming to realize that there is nothing that is white or black. There is always different approaches by different people. Something works for someone, something doesn't work for someone. And this is what I realized, that if Idani would feel really bad going back home that, oh, why did I take a draw, he should continue playing.
Very, very well said, and yes, such a nice answer.
Vinay Yenegure says, what happened on board 2? Board 2 was
Never a
victory for Karthik Venkatraman, the Indian player. And on board 3, we had a draw between Sayantan Das and Sivuk Vitali. Board 4, we had Deepan Chakravarti drawing against Rahul VS. Board 5, Sergei Kasparov won against Vitaly Pernatsky. And Tersakyan Samuel has made a comeback after 2 losses. He's won 2 games.
Yeah, when I went to the board to find out the result, it was not easy to guess after seeing their expressions because both of them were analyzing happily.
Very happy.
So I had to see the score sheet not of one person but actually both.
Yeah. Anup Deshmukh is always in happy, cheerful mood, so it's very difficult to know what's happening with his game. So I think the game, let's say the game between Levon Babujian and Idani Poya ends in a draw. Yeah, this is the position. No, so I'm just trying to find out what would be the final result. Yeah, this is what we have, the game. So both of them would move to 7.5. Then they are joined by Karthik Venkatraman, who is on 7.5, and Sergei Kasparov, also on 7.5. And you have, these are the 4 people on 7.5 points. So it will be Idani Poya, Levon Babujian, Karthik Venkatraman, and Sergei Kasparov. We have one Indian, so Karthik, more power to you.
Yes, what do you think about him, by the way, Karthik? You have been observing him since many days in the past 1 year journey, and World Junior was one of the latest one. So what do you think?
I think Karthik Venkatraman is one of those players who does his job silently. He has no fuss about, he's winning his games quickly. Even here he lost to Pranav Venkatesh in the 3rd round, I think. and then he's made a superb comeback, winning one game after another. And I would just like to tell the viewers one of the things that happened with him. When I was just walking around after the game got over between Pranav and Karthik Venkatraman, I went to Karthik and said that, why didn't you play the move Queen, I think Bishop A4. Yeah, there was a move Bishop A4 which he had missed, and it was not a tough move. I think a player of his caliber could have found that move easily, but he just brushed his shoulders, just said, yeah, I didn't see it, and he just moved ahead. He was just happy. So the point is, for some people it seems like if you lose the game, you must be sad, you must curse yourself, you must be like, no, how did I do it? But for Karthik, it was very simple. I didn't see it, and I have more rounds to play. Let me just forget this incident and move on. So that's what he did, and that's, I guess, one of his secrets to success.
That definitely shows his control on his nerves, yeah? So yes, let's look forward to tomorrow.
Yes, and by the way, Kirtan Prabhu had been asking what happened in the game of Stani. Stani drew his game, so we will just give you a final cut of what's happening on the top board. It's going to be a long game, but we will take your leave, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this commentary session. I hope that we will meet again very soon. Tomorrow will be the 10th round, and we will be going live once again. So stay tuned for all the action.
Yes, thanks for joining us.